Hi, everybody. My name is Michele Rossi. I'm product manager in Mqtt for the automation industry. And today, I want to show you what we are looking into automation and what we see as a trend in the market. So, if we think about automation, it's really, wide word. So, I want to focus a little bit on what means for us automation. So, if we think about factory automation, for example, we are seeing more and more intelligence inside the devices. So think about what is happening today for robotics, what is happening today for collaborative robotics, what is happening today inside the devices itself that needs more and more data to be managed. And use cases like AGV, like robots going around the factory, are popping up more and more factories in the world in order to manage logistics. All these type of use cases, these use cases are where we are looking into today. But not only factory automation or process automation, where we are also looking into, we call infrastructure automation. So we talk about items like smart building. We talk about items like smart farming, or we talk about items like smart grid and smart logistics. So we see these two main segments, so the industrial and infrastructure, as being the main segment for automation with Mqtt. And we are also perceiving that these two main segments, they share common needs. So they share specific type of needs, but they can be correlated each other. So what we also see today in the market, there are really a lot of buzzwords going around, like the buzzword of edge computing, buzzword of smart cities, industrial IoT. So who is in the sector of automation is hearing this buzzword every day, basically. And we try to focus on, technology standpoint of view, what these buzzwords means. So, for example, if we think about architecture complexity, if we think about how can I interconnect my device between each other, this is one item that we are focusing into automation with Mqtt. Another item that we are seeing in the market, it's the computational aspect, so machine learning, all this type of implementation in the factory that needs to, having more and more computation. These are items that we see as a trend in the market. But we see also the needs of managed data, so retrieving information, managing information, plotting data to the screen, or manage databases. These are needs today in the market. And also, what we see today in the market is the needs of looking for a better footprint, improving the footprint of my application. So this was a brief overview of what we see in the market today as a trend. And we try to focus on a specific concept scenario in order to try to see which are the challenges for the automation player in the market today. And we start starting from the development scenario, where we think everybody are facing issues today, where the development go to the deployment scenario. So if I think I need to deploy an application today, there are many, many targets for automation player, like, headless devices, embedded devices, mobile application. All this type of target needs time in order to deliver my application, right? So I want really to have one common framework for all the type of use cases I need to really focus on. And this is why we start looking into this specific scenario, building one specific demo, covering and try to identify what Mqtt can bring in such scenarios. So if, for example, what we see in factory automation or in building automation, for example, is that every time there is a development environment where you need to create your own application, there is every time a logic controller that is managing, for example, the automation inside the building or inside the factory. There is most of the time, you need to have a user interface where you need to interact with the automation of your own application. And for example, industrial touch panel are mostly and widely used in industrial infrastructure. But more and more, what we see in the market is the need of using the same UI, or similar concept UI on mobile, just because if we think about all the users in the factory, like a technician, like maintenance people, or a manager that want just to see, I don't know, OEE data or just alarming data, mobile are really well fitting this type of use cases. And not only embedded devices, but if you think about the common trend in the industrial market where you need to send data or retrieve data from the cloud. So we try to focus on exactly which are the needs for this type of player. And that's why we start thinking about which are the challenges these players are seeing in the market. And we believe that managing data for the automation market is really a complex scenario. Today, what we see in the market, it's really a trend to try to standardize the multiple protocol are, in every factory, in every type of industrial application. And today, we see this type of organization, the OPC UA Foundation, try to, basically standardize the common way all these devices in industrial field are communicating with each other. So if we think about that, OPC UA Foundation today has 600 members, is really increasing year by year. We want to focus, we want to provide a feature inside Qt that can support you in order to basically go with the trend in the market. And that's why we are working today in a specific OPC UA implementation that allows you to use the benefit of Qt, like the cross-platform capability, with OPC UA protocol. And today, what you can use with Qt OPC UA module is basically having a client implementation based on 2 available backend in the market. It allows you to easily integrate OPC UA protocol in your own application, importing this application to all the scenario we were describing before. Today, where we are also looking into is not only the client implementation, but we are receiving more and more feedback from the market that they want to use the same user experience that they are having with Qt also for the server part. And this is why we are also looking into this specific aspect. So that was more related to the industrial scenario. And if I go back, talking about the infrastructure scenario, I want to just to focus to the building automation. Today, we are seeing also the similar trend in the market for the industrial scenario, having one big player that is called KNX Association try to standardize a common protocol for all the building automation application. And today counts 460 members. And we strongly believe that the same need that the industrial scenario is facing, the similar scenario is also approached by the infrastructure scenario. And that's why we start working today. It's also a finalized implementation. It's called Qt KNX. Try to provide the similar user experience that we try to focus with OPC UA also for the infrastructure application. Today, we start implementing the full Qt KNX stack, starting with the NetIP implementation, but we are also looking into feedback, right? So we see a trend in the market, and we want to see where our users are thinking this can be beneficial for their application. That's why we are also looking into more feature. So we talk about data as a key aspect for industrial and infrastructure automation, but not only data are the key aspect. Also, the way you can create architecture, the way you can interconnect your device, I don't know, between each other or from embedded device to the cloud, for example, is a key aspect in the scenario in automation. So that's why we start looking into a specific way to interconnect these devices to the cloud. And we were identifying in Mqtt a really, I will say, important standard common approach that is more and more becoming popular in the market. So Mqtt is a publisher-subscriber protocol. It's lightweight and allow you to create use cases like interconnecting my edge devices to the cloud. It's not only the one use case you can use with MQTT, but it's a really important feature for the automation market. And that's why, also in this case, we wanted to provide more usability for a Qt user in order to create application using this type of solution. So in this case, the advantage that you can consider using MQTT is the fact that you can interconnect different type of application thanks to the protocol itself, so it's publisher subscriber based. The point in this case that you need to rely on a broker. So is not really well fitting all the use cases, like, for example, when you need to have a faster communication, you don't want to go through a broker, right? So you don't want to rely on a broker. But we think that, for the trend in the market, like interconnecting my device to the cloud, this can be a really interesting approach to follow. And today, with the latest release of Qt, we are supporting a level 5 implementation that provides more feature. And we are also looking into, from your side, having feedback about our implementation. So as I was mentioning before, MQTT is really well fitting the scenario in order to connecting my device to the cloud. But we wanted also to look into on different type of scenario, right? So in the case I want to have a direct connection between my device and my remote application, for example, we are seeing that co-op it's really good way to cover this type of use case. So if I just need to have a local network, like, I don't know, an access point in my house can be an interesting use case. We were looking into what are the available protocol in the market, which are the trend, and we are seeing co-op being one interesting solution for this scenario. And that's why we wanted to invest into this specific protocol, also with a specific part of our investment. And that's why we are looking into, from the roadmap perspective, having support for the co-op module in the next release of Qt. So now I want to spend some time talking about one important use case and one important scenario we are facing today as needs in the market. So today we are seeing more and more needs of different type of UI approach, right? So we see in the past as a trend desktop application, native application on mobile. This is really the basic standard of the background in industrial infrastructure automation, where SCADA system were being, along the time, the really main value for desktop application. But what we are also seeing today, for example, in a factory, think about the technician that is just going around touching touchscreen every day, and it needs to, easily access to the information into a device that can be a PLC into a machine, or can be, I don't know, another headless device into the factory. You don't want to go through Play Store, downloading the native application, having this type of bad user experience for a technician that just need to set some parameter into the factory, and he wants just to see some value. And that's why we see a trend in the market for having UI directly on the browser. So this is, from my point of view, really a fast, interactive user experience for technicians, for people that needs to rely on data directly on your mobile devices or your desktop application. So, and if we think about the scenario that I just mentioned now, there are a lot of potential technologies that you can use. Today we are seeing HTML5 really spread in use, but I mean, if we think about the Qt as such, it means that you are basically having the need as a company to rely on HTML5 developers. So we are talking about different type of experience for a company itself. So in this case, we start looking into the market, which are the available technology that they can provide the same reliability or similar user experience for end user, for example, as HTML5. And one scenario that we are investigating more and more into automation is how Webgl can provide this type of use cases for developers, for companies, and for end user itself. So Webgl, I don't know if everybody knows Webgl Technology, is technology maintained by Kronos Group, and in this case allows you to render 2D and 3D application to the browser. What is based, Webgl today is based on OpenGL AS. So what we are looking into is how Qt can fit into Webgl community or scenario, and that's why we wanted to invest into a Qt Webgl implementation, where basically focusing on the use case scenario I was just mentioning before, can try to provide to some specific use cases like headless devices having the UI on the browser, type of performance that are specific for type of use cases. So we start investing into Webgl technology, having a Qt Webgl module. Today I would say it's an ongoing process. With 5.12 we have that finally supported. And today the support of Webgl is related to Webgl 1.0. And in this case, for Webgl technology, we are looking into more investment. We are looking into which are the missing pieces that we are receiving from the market. For example, one aspect is security. Today, what we are perceiving is that in the industrial scenario, in the infrastructure scenario, security is really one important aspect. And another item that today is worth to mention is that Webgl technology, Qt Webgl technology, support only Qt Quick application. And also the type of use case that you can, think about using our technology, Qt Webgl technology, is one-on-one use case. So you cannot think to use Qt Webgl technology in order to communicate with multiple clients. This is something we are working on. But if we think about how is important for industrial automation or infrastructure automation, this type of use case, it's really important for us in automation focusing on all important technology that are today available in the market. That's why we start looking into, mainly pushing in the automation scenario for one common standard that is called WebAssembly. Today was a specific presentation about this topic. And we strongly believe that WebAssembly technology can bring an added value into the automation scenario. In this case, WebAssembly is a standard supported by W3C association, and basically allows you to compile C++ application for the web. The main difference with Webgl technology is that with Webgl technology, you rely on the computation power on the embedded device. Instead, in this case, with WebAssembly, if we really think about the different technology, you are really running a Qt application in the browser. In this case, allows you to save some computational data on the embedded device, and allows you to create different use cases scenario instead of Webgl, for example. And that's why we are investing into Webgl technology with Qt for WebAssembly. Today, just sharing with you part of the roadmap, today Qt for WebAssembly is still a tech preview because we strongly believe that the user experience is one of the most important things that Qt needs to provide to you. And where we are focusing, it's really on the user experience, on the developer experience that you want to have with Qt. For example, we are looking into improving the performance of the compilation, the performance on the amount of data that are related to the application, but also on the tooling experience, so integrating WebAssembly directly into Qt Creator and, for example, having the binaries directly in the installer. So this type of integration where we are focusing into automation in order to enhance your developer experience. So I talked about data, I talked about architecture complexity, I talked about new use cases for UI. And all these type of scenarios are where we are looking into today with automation. So where we are focusing today with automation is the edge level. So we are really focusing on providing technology, providing user experience for our users in order to cover all the type of use cases into an automation scenario. But where we are also looking into in the future are different topics, not only the one I was describing before. We are also trying to understand how is important for the automation market, the cloud connectivity, how is important for developer having a really fast connectivity with the cloud. And where we are also, start getting feedback and start having an understanding in the market is how is important today Docker for embedded devices into the automation market. So Docker is a technology really well known into web world, but we are seeing more and more companies looking into Docker, so containerized approach for embedded devices. And we think it can be some values, can bring some values for the users, but we don't think that can cover all the use cases, right? So we need to think where really the investment on our side will worth benefit for you. And the last part that I want to mention is one important topic today for automation, that is machine learning. So we are seeing more and more companies today working with the machine learning framework. And we are also seeing more and more companies today in automation using Qt with machine learning. And that's why we want to understand better which are the needs into this type of use cases, try to cover and bring benefit for all this type of users. So that was all. I think I covered all the items in my presentation that I wanted to share with you. In this case, we will have to desk with our demos related to automation scenario. It will be really a pleasure to show you more detail and discuss with you. So thank you very much.
And now, as usual, questions to Michele. Automation topic. It was quite interesting. You might have some questions. Okay.
Hi. I just wanted to know if there are any plans for Mqtt server support.
Okay. So actually, this is a really interesting feedback because we are more and more, receiving this similar feedback. So talking about the roadmap, today there is no plan. But what is important for us is getting feedback, right? So we wanted to focus on which are actually the most common use cases. And as I was mentioning before to you, we are getting more and more feedback about this specific request. Can I make a question perhaps after we can have a chat together? Because it's really important for us understanding the specific use case where you see, Qt really into that. So perhaps after we can have a discussion. Thank you very much.
Further questions? Down there? No questions? Thank you very much, Michele.
Thank you very much.